Alright, so we're back to the Justice League series. Now, I am not impressed with the new Power Ring. As you know, basically what's happened is this rift in, from just to give you a little bit of backstory, there is a rift in space-time. Superman and Martian Manhunter go into it and to prevent any kind of contamination. Batman is inside Superman's cells. Hawkwoman is inside J'onn J'onz's. And they're basically there in case, like, the baddies try something. Well, then John Stewart shows up, and he's been possessed by this new ultraviolet power ring, which is incredibly a lame thing. Now, I like this story. It's a little confusing, just all the characters that they're trying to do. That's interesting. Like, they go find this old Atlantean fortress that not even Aquaman knew about, and whatnot, and Batman and Batman and Hawkwoman and Superman and Martian Manhunter, they discovered that the rift that they go into leads to the Source Wall. Now again, we're back to this new ultraviolet, and it's like, okay guys, you have every ring color under the rainbow. Why are you now creating ultraviolet? And it seems to be the key difference is the other rings are powered by its wearer. So Green Lantern rings are powered by will. Sinestro rings are the yellow power rings. They're powered through fear, so on and so forth. This one is powered by its user, and so or by the ring itself. Instead of you powering that ring, the ring powers you. Kind of dumb. It's like the same. I honestly think this is because Snyder is writing the bulk of this series. I like Snyder as a writer, but I feel like he's trying to put his own spin on the whole power ring thing. So we're here to this, and it kind of gives a little backstory to Zod. Superman and Martian Manhunter are fighting these things. Joker is secretly in Martian Manhunter's bloodstream because reasons. Sinestro is fighting John Stewart and Cyborg, and John gets his ring shattered because of the ultraviolet ring. There's Aquaman, Flash, and Wonder Woman are still in the secret Atlantean base. Lo and behold, Grodd and Cheetah and Black Manta show up to fight them, and they trick Aquaman and Wonder Woman to fight each other, and Grodd makes Flash stand still because he has the child of Turtle Man. Of course, Turtle Man controls the Steel Force, which prevents Flash from moving when he's not connected to the Speed Force. And apparently, since the events of Metals, the Speed Force has kind of been dormant. Flash just has been running fast because of his natural abilities, so that means the Steel Force can overcome him. That's kind of what happens. My issue with this series is it's very convoluted. As opposed to one singular plot and other characters going from that plot to different points, they're not really doing that this time around. It's more, what's the word I'm looking for? It's definitely more... There's too many facets to it, and it's a little confusing. I don't really know what's going on because of that. And I hope for more of a straight story from these guys, but you know how it is. So we're to Justice League 5 and 6. As you can see, the Legion of Doom is introduced in the series, and now James Tynion relieves Scott Snyder of his writing duties for this one. I love the artwork in this. I've got other criticisms of it, but I want to give credit to the artists Don Mankey and James Mendoza, I believe. They do some fantastic artwork here in this series. I've got nothing against it. Now this particular issue, it has some moving forward, but it's mainly Lex Luthor recruiting the Legion of Doom, explaining why, and we find Lex Luthor's motivation behind this plot. Oh look, he went to the future and saw a statue of himself. So he goes 1 million years into the future. And so this is why he's doing this, because in the future they've embraced Lutheranism, and he's really excited about this. And so so using like this doorknob that has kind of mother box abilities, he recruits the Legion of Doom. They're all doing their thing. They're gathering weapons in the Atlantean Forge that not even Aquaman knew about, and everything in between. Sinestro has the ultraviolet, and this ultraviolet planet is coming to Earth and wants to take its place, basically. So we're moving to number 5. Oh, and by the way, Lex Luthor takes over Superman's body, and the Joker takes over John Jones's body. Flash is still trying to overcome the Force, and this whole thing where they're trying to use like make this a battle of philosophy. So Lex Luthor's philosophy wins 1,000,000 years in the future, and he's using like these powerful dimensional artifacts and this rift, which they call the totality, the stuff in the source wall and everything in between. Now I do like the artwork, but I'm not a fan of this Joker rendering. I think it's this doesn't resemble that enough. Anyway, I'm just not a fan of this whole, all the villains are third-year philosophy students. I've complained about this with Prometheus and Alien Covenant and Blade Runner 2049. I'm so sick of the villains being philosophers. I don't care what the villain's philosophy is. It doesn't matter to me. This whole appeal to intellectuals just so they'll buy comic books, let me tell you something. DC, Marvel, listen up, you need to hear this. You're not going to win with this strategy. You need to be, I'm not saying you shouldn't expand your fan base, but this series is a perfect example of why people are turning away from Marvel and DC and turning to independent comic book writers, or people you have forced to become independent. People like Mark Barron and Martina Mercoda. They're forced to do this because you are pandering to a crowd that doesn't buy comic books. They're not nerds. They're not real nerds. Some of them are, but these SJWs appealing to, for one thing, SJWs don't buy comic books. And I'm not saying this particular series has SJW messaging in it, but this whole thing where the villain has to be this philosopher and the hero has to overcome his punching skills in order to philosophize with the villain. It's stupid and it's pointless. Bring on the good writing, bring on the good stories. The bad guys losing because the good guys kicked their butts. You know, there's a time and a place for these philosophical writings, I'm sure, but why bore us in the comic book realm? Thank you so much for watching. Follow me on Twitter at RealJacobAiry. Instagram is real.jacob.airy. Facebook is author Jacob Airy. Of course, you can find my political writings on dailywire.com. Every once in a while, they let me write a nerd article if James Barrett and Emily Zanotti doesn't beat me to it. Don't forget to subscribe here at StudioJake and subscribe to my blog, jacobairy.blog. Don't forget about that. It's pretty awesome. Like this video, share it out there, subscribe, ring that little bell. New videos every Sunday and Wednesday, and I'll see you next time right here in StudioJake.